You guys get recognized everywhere you go?
We get recognized everywhere. It doesn't matter where we are in the world. I mean, we were at Universal yesterday, walking through the park.
The on-screen drama on Hardcore Pawn was nothing compared to what happened behind the scenes. Away from the cameras, not every story ended happily. Over the years, some fan-favorite cast members have tragically passed away, others were caught in scandal, and a few chose to walk away, leaving fans shocked, and the shop forever changed. Which cast members left, and who's no longer with us? Join us as we reveal 10 beloved cast members whose lives or time on the show ended too soon. Number 10. Les Gold. Believe it or not, the first face on this list happens to be the patriarch of the Gold family, and the owner of Hardcore Pawn, Les Gold. Any real fan of Hardcore Pawn understands the kind of man Les Gold was. He stood his ground whenever things escalated. One time, when a customer walked in and hurled insults at his daughter, Ashley, Les couldn't take it anymore, so he intervened, firmly telling the man that he would allow no disrespect from anyone, whosoever, to his daughter. While speaking, Les was dragging the man outside by his shirt. The customer turned and poured his anger on Les, exchanging words with him, which escalated into heated arguments. They were almost at the point of blows. Les kept his cool, sternly warning the customer to avoid further disrespecting his daughter in his store. He then instructed the security team to block the store's entrance. That Les managed to keep his cool didn't mean he would simply let the demented man go. He issued a strong warning, telling him that he wouldn't mind beating him up if he saw him again. Les sure was a patron, but he became the center of a major online frenzy in March 2023. A message claiming that the veteran pawnbroker had died spread like wildfire. And even more shocking, it was shared more than 50,000 times in just 2 days. Fans immediately flooded pages with their tributes, leaving messages of grief for the man who had built American Jewelry and Loan on Greenfield Road into one of the most famous pawn shops in the country. For many, it felt like the end of an era, but only a few days after, his son Seth came online to debunk the news that his father was dead. 1 week later, Les himself appeared in a short video filmed inside the Detroit store, shaking his head and declaring with a grin, "As you can see, I'm not dead." The real tragedy wasn't his passing, it was how quickly millions were ready to believe the rumor. But that also showed just how loved Les was among his customers and fans. Speaking of Seth, he also found himself in a rather troubling tragedy. Number 9. Seth Gold. Hardcore Pawn was really a family business, as from the very first season, all the members of the Gold family were present. Seth Gold was not an exception. More than a mere team member, he was Les Gold's son, and one of the leading figures of the franchise. Seth was not always at the front desk. He worked behind the scenes, making sure the shop ran well, while his father took the bold, ambitious frontline role. Seth did his best to keep things running. He was the schedule guy, the organizer, the problem anticipator. Frankly, no true fan of the show can deny Seth's resilience. But perhaps they don't know that his relentless dedication was rooted in one thing: the desire to make his father proud. He was so locked in and so focused on preventing problems before they even surfaced. One could say that he pretty much carried the show's pressure on his own shoulders. His father was ambitious, and whilst he pushed the show forward, Seth quietly held its structure together, making sure everything stayed grounded. A customer once walked into the store and disrespected Les and Ashley. Seth wasn't on the scene, but he was curious about the noise and commotion. When he came out, one could clearly see the fury on his face upon learning about the incident. He looked like he wouldn't mind beating up the customer on Les's behalf, but Les told him not to go out so he wouldn't beat up the customer for his actions, causing more issues. But it wasn't always easy, and his drive came at a cost. As the show progressed, the behind-the-scenes workload grew. Seth was forced to retreat from the screen, his presence growing weaker as he was too busy keeping the entire operation running. For fans, it was a quiet tragedy, one of the main characters slowly fading out. Sure, there were deadlines, but those weren't his only battles. In 2019, while riding his motorbike, Seth was involved in a deadly accident that left him bedridden. After that, a painful recovery followed. He started learning how to walk again, step by step. But he had always been resilient, which helped his recovery. But what about the sister whom he stood up for? What happened to her was even more attention-grabbing. Number 8. Ashley Broad. Ashley is the daughter of Les Gold and Lily Gold. She became one of the most recognizable personalities on Hardcore Pawn, spending most of her early life inside American Jewelry and Loan. Naturally, growing up in the business gave her a strong understanding of sales and customer behavior, and it also shaped her straightforward personality, which, of course, later became a defining part of the show's appeal. When Hardcore Pawn premiered in 2010, Ashley was quickly thrust into the spotlight, but when it came to conversations with customers, she wasn't known for smooth negotiations. Instead, viewers saw a woman who was fierce, determined, and who squarely matched the intensity of Detroit's busiest pawn counter. Her interactions, unlike her father's, often involved heated disputes with customers, sharp exchanges with staff, and especially frequent clashes with her brother Seth. Somehow, the sibling rivalry became a major part of the show's identity, creating moments fans still talk about. Some viewers appreciated her bold presence and saw her as a strong female figure in a rough business. Others found her confrontational style overwhelming, but whether people admired her or criticized her, she kept audiences invested. Some customers were equally unruly, which often tested Ashley's straightforward approach. One time, a lady walked in, yelling like she wanted to pull the roof down. The sassy lady bounced into the store to find out why the vacuum cleaner she bought wasn't working. Ever ready to attend to customers, Ashley introduced herself and told the lady to lower her voice as she was shouting so loudly. But the angry lady had no such intention. She continued to yell at the top of her voice, demanding that Ashley do something about her cleaner. The problem arose when Ashley asked whether she had tested the vacuum cleaner before buying it. The lady simply leaned in, as if she wanted to let Ashley in on a secret. But instead, she reached out her hand and hit Ashley's hair, taking her by surprise. By 2014, the tension that made the show entertaining began affecting more than on-screen drama. The arguments between Ashley and Seth seemed to spill over into real life, creating friction within the family. The emotional wear and tear became noticeable, and rumors grew that Ashley might be stepping away from both the business and the show. For longtime fans, the possibility felt like a major shift. The dynamic between the three Gold family members had always been the core of the series, and Ashley's presence gave it a strong emotional edge. Her eventual departure was never framed as a formal resignation, but her absence from the shop spoke for itself. Ashley explained that she left Hardcore Pawn to spend more time with her husband and children. In a local television interview, she said the long hours and constant on-camera drama were wearing her down, and she was ready for a change. She also admitted that the pawnshop routine had become repetitive. Day after day, she found herself wearing the same black sweater, black tank top, jeans, and shoes while repeating the same work cycle, and eventually realized she was no longer happy living that way. Beyond the daily grind, Ashley also pointed to her health and family responsibilities as key reasons for stepping away. She revealed that managing the store while filming the show was taking a toll on her well-being, and she did not want her family to suffer because of the pressure. After leaving, she focused on personal goals, launching an online jewelry business and later starting a podcast. Fans continued debating what truly made Ashley leave, but for the next person, Her existence left a void that was never filled. Number 7. Karen Mitchell. In the entire franchise, Karen stood out as one of the most beloved characters. She was married to a cousin of Les Gold's wife, so they have no blood relation. Yet, she had a way of reducing the usual tension in the pawn shop with her jovial presence. But was it all glitz and glamour? Far from it. Away from the cameras, she wasn't always as bright, as she was entangled in various personal problems, which eventually led to serious health concerns, causing her to gradually pull away from the cameras and store. It was just a matter of time before her fans felt her absence. Still, Karen maintained her steady presence until 2020, when heartbreaking news spread, shocking fans of the show. Karen had passed away after another illness episode. The incident left her fan community devastated, but beyond that, it also affected the entire hardcore pawn community. Everyone who had been influenced by her bright side deeply felt the loss. While Karen's loss hit fans like a tornado, her namesake disappeared under very mysterious circumstances. Number 6. Karen Civil. As it stands, there's no denying the fact that the Gold family was the face of the show for years, but behind them stood the background staff who brought life to the show. One of these staff members was Karen Civil, an employee who was constantly standing behind the counters at American Jewelry and Loan's flagship store on Greenfield Road in Detroit. Karen, unlike the members of the Gold family, wasn't always in the media and wasn't thrust into the spotlight, but that didn't mean she was lost to fans. She had a sharp eye for deals and quick humor that made her stand out to regular viewers. But then, without warning, Karen and several other staff members disappeared from episodes after Season 6, which aired in 2014. No explanation was offered on air or off air, leaving fans confused and worried. Some people speculated that the layoffs hit the store hard as the business restructured, while others on online forums claimed the firings were staged for drama. By 2015, when truTV announced the show's cancellation after 9 seasons, many fans assumed the worst about staff like Karen. There were rumors of illness, financial ruin, and even death. While there are no official reports confirming any such tragedy, the fact that familiar faces suddenly went missing carried significant weight. If hardcore pawn revolved around the Gold family, what happened to the matriarch of the family? Number 5. Lily Gold. Remember that the show revolved around the Gold family. The mother was also not left out. While Les, Seth, and Ashley carried most of the spotlight on hardcore pawn, those who have been fans for a long time knew that the heart of the Gold family was Lily, Les's wife. Married since 1975, Lily helped build American Jewelry and Loan from its early days on Michigan Avenue before the business moved to its now famous Greenfield Road location in Detroit in 1993. She hardly appeared on camera, yet her presence was felt in nearly every decision. Employees often described her as the calm behind the storm, the one who kept the family grounded when tensions between Les, Seth, and Ashley boiled over during filming. By 2013, as the show's popularity soared, speculation began spreading online about Lily's health. As the seasons went on, viewers couldn't help but notice that Lily appeared less and less. Many assumed she stepped back because of health problems. The family never spoke about it, giving more room for speculation. In a show built on constant arguments and wild moments, Lily was the steady hand. Her absence wasn't just noticed. It felt like something vital had gone missing almost overnight. Still, the family is standing, but the passing of one of their members was a devastating blow to them all. Number 4. Carlos Deals. Hardcore Pawn had some spin-offs, and Carlos was one of the main characters of the Chicago spin-off. He was known for his bold personality and steadfastness when confronting conflict. Whether it meant challenging his boss's actions or dealing with a problematic customer, Carlos was always at the forefront of dangerous situations. He was almost always seen at his post or nearby, protecting the peace of the pawn shop. Behind the scenes and offstage, he was a family man in all situations. This was one of the reasons he later quit his job in the series. As he said, the pay he received was nowhere near enough for the daily dangers he faced while defending the pawn shop. However, after he quit, an unexpected tragedy struck. Carlos suddenly went missing, and he was later found unresponsive in his home. Fans were left speechless by the tragedy, as the once strong bodyguard was found lifeless. Nobody could believe it because he was the last person anyone expected to lose in such a manner. In 2014, when fans of the Chicago spin-off heard the news, they were crushed. They could not believe they were witnessing the passing of the 44-year-old Carlos, gone not just from their screens, but from their lives. A sad reminder that behind the drama these cast faced on TV, real lives were being lived daily. Carlos's absence was deeply felt, but the next person saw it coming and might have had a hand in it. Number 3. Rich Pyle. Rich Pyle wasn't just another employee at American Jewelry and Loan. He quickly became a fan favorite and a stabilizing presence on Hardcore Pawn. Joining the show from its very first season in 2010, he worked as a floor manager, navigating the daily chaos of the busy Detroit pawn shop. In this franchise, his relationship with Les was one of the building blocks of the pawn shop's success. His sharp instincts were one of his greatest strengths, as he was a relentless manager in charge of handling the affairs that went on in the shop. He kept things organized in every ordeal, and although he wasn't the loudest on the show, he was known as one of the most reliable. He was not only known for his eyes, but for his brain, too. Behind the scenes, his relationship with Les wasn't just one of co-workership. It was one of friendship and a true brotherly bond. They went through almost everything together, managing the affairs of the pawn shop for 25 years, working side by side, and going through the thick and thin of running a pawn business in Detroit. However, everything changed in 2012 during Season 6. In one of the show's most shocking moments, Les Gold fired Rich on camera after a heated disagreement about how the store should be run. The firing left fans stunned and heartbroken. Online forums exploded with reactions, describing it as the death of trust. The few times he came on air, fans noticed how his once abundant humor had started to diminish. And with time, they noticed one of their favorite characters probably wasn't in love with the environment anymore. Still, Rich knew he was falling out of love with co-working in the pawn shop with Les and kept it a secret. Fans speculated that Rich probably did something provoking, but someone else directly assaulted customers, leading to his termination. Number 2. Brian Robo Jackson. When Hardcore Pawn first premiered, Robo was introduced as American Jewelry and Loan's original head of security. He was an imposing figure with a tough exterior and a no-nonsense attitude whose presence wasn't just for the show. His role was clear: maintain order in a pawn shop where tempers often flared, which made sense because Robo looked and acted like someone who could physically intervene when things threatened to spiral. One of Robo's most memorable moments was in the very first season during a heated confrontation over a pawned television. A furious customer began shouting, demanding more money, and eventually attempted to climb over the counter. Before the situation could escalate further, Robo intervened forcefully. He grabbed the man by the shoulders, turned him around, and escorted him out of the store. Viewers responded with praise, calling him the bouncer of Detroit. That moment made it seem like Robo would remain a pillar of security in the shop for years. However, Robo's tenure was short-lived. According to episode summaries and show documentation, he was removed after a bizarre and troubling on-set incident. In one early episode, Robo allegedly bit a fellow employee, a serious breach of workplace conduct. This behavior crossed a line that even a hardcore pawn shop couldn't tolerate. Although Robo was temporarily suspended and brought back for a few more episodes during the first season, he gradually faded from view. He appeared a couple more times in Season 1, but after that, he disappeared entirely. Production records show that he's not present in any later seasons. By Season 2, his absence was clear. He was replaced by other security figures who stepped into his role without the same aggressive edge. Robo's aggressive approach may have deterred rowdy customers, but it also made him a liability. While Robo left after getting involved in workplace violence, another member was dealing with a completely different issue. But in the end, their fate turned out surprisingly similar. Number 1. Christina Silas. Back in Detroit, she was the one who kept the shop running smoothly as a window clerk. Although she wasn't always in the limelight, she was essential to the operation of the pawn shop behind the scenes. Without her, there wouldn't even be a pawn shop, let alone a hardcore pawn show. She handled paperwork, managed countless customer interactions, and kept the shop functioning. Fans may not have seen her at the center of every fight or drama, but they knew Christina's importance to the business was undeniable. In the 8th season of the original series, Christina was caught doing something that shocked viewers. She was caught on camera stealing. The footage stunned fans worldwide. For many, it was a betrayal, especially for those who had rooted for her over the years. It was an action that completely contradicted how she had been portrayed until that moment. Les Gold made it clear that stealing was one of the most unforgivable things an employee could do. He addressed the situation publicly, in front of everyone, and for fans watching live on the broadcast. Disbelief was everywhere as this trusted team member was exposed for her wrongdoing. Les didn't hesitate. Christina was arrested on camera and escorted out of the store, creating one of the most dramatic firings in the series. Fans reacted with shock, expressing disbelief that someone who had appeared dependable could betray the trust of both the store and the audience. Can Hardcore Pawn return to air? If it did, would you tune in? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.